All right, welcome back. It's cooled down a little here in the garden, but we're back for another episode of Want to Start a Fight, presented by Suiting Up Varsity, when we look at one high school and try to make a decision about who was their greatest athlete of all time. All right, we spun the wheel again, and we came up with another school with a short-lived history. Fremont St. Patrick, opened in 1949, fall of 1949, closed by the fall of 1960 when it has been absorbed, has become, I'm not sure how you want to term it, St. Patrick Parish combines with other area Fremont parishes and becomes our Archbishop Bergen, which of course we know well. Okay, but we're just looking at the St. Patrick era, so 49 through spring of 60. And the first thing you run across when you look at that is a story from our recent work on the origins of eight-man football in Nebraska, and that is Coach Vince Carlin, who was probably the number one enthusiast for bringing the eight-man game. And it's interesting because in that decade of the 50s that St. Patrick was open, the Knights, wearing green and gold like Bergen, the Knights were growing fast, and so they played six-man football and then eight-man football, and really, by the time they had closed, they played a season or two of 11-man. But he was big, along with Gene Kruger, of course, the legend of Elkhorn High, with bringing eight-man football to Nebraska, and they played the first ever eight-man game. The greatest St. Patrick team, though, comes after Coach Carlin had left Fremont, left the profession, and headed home to Iowa to sell insurance. And that is the 1959 eight-man state champs. Now, the Knights shared that state championship. They had a tie with Cedar Bluffs. Also, eight-man at that time, people were still trying to figure out. St. Patrick's would have been a Class C team that year, so they were rated with the Class C teams playing eight-man, not the Class D teams playing eight-man. So a couple other schools have 1959 eight-man state championship banners. Okay, St. Patrick's went 8-0-1 under Coach Lou Wool. That's a tough one to say. Coach Wool and the Knights, probably the greatest team ever for St. Patrick, and it doesn't surprise us then that our number one GOAT candidate comes from that team. But it's interesting because he was a junior. So this is junior eight-man all-state end Cliff Rice. Now, of course, if he was a junior in the fall of 59, his senior year is at Archbishop Bergen. So can we name a Bergen graduate as the greatest St. Patrick athlete of all time? I don't know. Competing against him is Tim Evans of the 1954 basketball team. Now, the 1954 basketball team was the only St. Patrick's team to make it to state. They beat Elkhorn in the district final, beat Clarkson in the regional final, and then lost at state to Franklin. That broke a 13-game Nebraska win streak. They hadn't lost to a Nebraska team in a long time. Now, they had lost, this is kind of interesting, to Mar Hill Academy in Atkinson, Kansas. And I think Mar Hill has come to my attention before, a prep school down there. I think they played Boys Town in football in the 50s. I should have double-checked before I did the video, but I'm pretty sure I remember looking up Mar Hill on the outskirts of Atkinson, Kansas. I think it's still there. Kansas folks can tell me if I'm wrong. Tim Evans scored 91 points in district and regional, so that's 4 games. So that's, doing the math, 22.5, a little over average. That's pretty good. So I think he's our other candidate for GOAT. I think I'm going with the state champ. I think I'm going with the all-state football player, Cliff Rice, who was a junior in that last year of St. Patrick's. I think he's the greatest St. Patrick Knight of all time. All right, thanks for joining us. Next time, I've already spun the wheel. We've got a school with a little bigger history, Class C school. In fact, one of the most consistently in Class C schools I've ever seen. Still open. We're going to take a look at their history. I'm going to hold off on the name, but that's our next video. Thanks for watching.